Emily Turner never picked up her son from school again. At first, the teachers thought it was just a mistake. Maybe her phone was dead. Maybe she was stuck at work. Maybe she had forgotten the time. But when 5-year-old Ben sat alone in the school office for more than 2 hours and no one could reach his mother, the worry became something else. By that evening, Emily Turner was officially missing. 3 days later, police found her phone inside a trash bin behind a gas station on the edge of the city. The screen was cracked. The battery had been removed. The SIM card was gone. There were no messages, no calls, no location data. It was as if someone had carefully erased her from the world. But one detail made the case even more disturbing. 6 months earlier, Emily had quietly married a man she barely knew. Not for love, not for family, not even for a future together. She married him for money. And the man she married was an international student running out of time. His name was Ravi Kapoor. To immigration officers, Ravi and Emily looked like a normal young couple. They had photos together, a written love story, a legal marriage certificate. But in real life, they lived separate lives, separate homes, separate secrets. And now one of them had vanished. As police began searching through Emily's apartment, her bank records, her phone history, they started asking a very simple question. Who was the last person paying her every month? The answer led them straight to Ravi. And what they found next would turn a fake marriage into a real murder investigation. To understand how this happened, we have to go back to the very beginning, before the disappearance, before the marriage, before the deal. Back to the day Ravi Kapoor first arrived in Canada with 2 suitcases, a student visa, and a dream that would slowly destroy everything.
If you want to uncover more chilling true crime stories and see justice exposed, subscribe to Crime Vaults as we bring light to the darkest true crime cases and never miss the secrets hidden in plain sight.
Ravi Kapoor was 24 years old when he first landed at Toronto Pearson Airport. It was October, cold, gray, nothing like the sunshine of his village back home. He carried 2 suitcases. One held his clothes, the other held the weight of every expectation his family had ever placed on him. Ravi wasn't just a student. He was an investment. His parents had sold a portion of their farmland to pay for his tuition. His uncle had taken out a loan. His neighbors had contributed what they could. In his village, when a young man gets a visa to Canada, the entire community celebrates. Because if he succeeds, everyone benefits. If he fails, everyone loses. Ravi knew this. He promised his mother he would study hard, work hard, make something of himself, and one day he would bring them all to Canada. That was the dream. When Ravi walked into his first class at Northern Star College, he realized something was wrong. The classroom was packed, more than 60 students crammed into a space meant for 30. The instructor was reading from a PowerPoint that looked like it had been copied from the internet. There were no labs, no real equipment, no hands-on training, just slides and attendance sheets. Ravi looked around at the other students. Most of them were like him, all international, all paying full price, and all slowly realizing the same thing. This school wasn't here to teach them. It was here to collect their money. But by then, it was too late to leave, because leaving meant losing the visa, and losing the visa meant going home, and going home meant facing everyone who had believed in him. So Ravi stayed. He got a job at a warehouse, loading trucks at night, then a weekend shift at a coffee shop, then occasional gigs delivering food on a bicycle in the snow. He was working more than 40 hours a week, which violated his student visa, but he had no choice. Rent, groceries, phone, transit, tuition for next semester. Ravi started skipping meals. He sold his laptop. He stopped going out. He called home every Sunday and lied. "Everything is fine, Ma. Classes are going well. I'm making friends." But inside, he was drowning. One night, as Ravi sat alone in his basement room staring at his bank balance, he realized something terrifying. He had 6 months left on his study permit, and no way to extend it. If he didn't find a solution soon, he would be deported. And if he went back now with nothing to show for it, his family would be ruined. So when a classmate quietly mentioned something to him one evening after class, Ravi listened. "There's a way to stay," the classmate said. "It's not exactly legal, but it works." Ravi asked what it was. The classmate looked around to make sure no one else was listening. Then he said 2 words that would change everything. Marriage fraud. The classmate gave him a phone number. "Just text this guy. His name is Karan. He helps people like us." Ravi stared at the number on his phone for 3 days. But on the 4th day, when his landlord threatened to kick him out for late rent, Ravi finally sent the message. 3 minutes later, Karan replied, "I can help. Let's meet." Karen looked normal. That was the first thing Ravi noticed when they met at a Tim Hortons near the college. He wasn't some shady criminal. He was just a guy. Late 20s, clean-shaven, jeans and a hoodie. He smiled when he saw Ravi, shook his hand, sat down like they were old friends. "So," Karen said, "you need PR." Ravi nodded. "Let me guess," Karen said. "Private college, useless diploma, no job offer, savings almost gone, family back home waiting for good news." Ravi didn't say anything. He didn't have to. Karen smiled. "Don't worry, I've helped dozens of people like you." He slid his phone across the table. On the screen was a photo of a couple, a young man and a young woman, smiling at the camera. "This is Arjun and Jessica," Karen said. "They got married 8 months ago. He just got his PR approved last week." Ravi looked at the photo. "Are they real?" Karen laughed. "Real marriage? No. Real PR? Yes." He swiped to another photo. Another couple. Different faces, same smiles. Photo after photo. Couple after couple. All fake, all successful. Karen put his phone away. "Here's how it works," he said. "You pay a Canadian citizen to marry you. You fill out the paperwork. You submit photos. You go to an immigration interview together. You answer their questions. You convince them you're in love. And then, once you get your PR, you quietly separate. No one gets hurt." Ravi felt his stomach twist. "And if we get caught?" Karen shrugged. "You won't, as long as you follow the rules." "What rules?" 1. You live together, or at least make it look like you do. 2. You have photos, lots of them. 3. You know each other's lives, favorite food, how you met, when you fell in love. 4. You never, ever tell anyone the truth. Ravi swallowed. "How much does it cost?" Karen smiled. 20,000. Ravi's heart sank. "I don't have that." "I know. That's why you pay in installments. 2,000 upfront, the rest over the next year." He leaned forward. "Look, Ravi, this isn't risk-free, but it's the fastest way to stay. And right now, you don't have a lot of options." Ravi sat there in silence. He thought about his mother, his father, the land they sold. He thought about going home empty-handed. He thought about the shame. Finally, he looked up. "Okay," he said. "I'll do it." Karen smiled and extended his hand. They shook. And just like that, Ravi Kapoor agreed to commit immigration fraud. Pause. 2 weeks later, Karen called him. "I found someone," he said. "Her name is Emily." Emily Turner was 29 years old. She had a 5-year-old son named Ben. She worked 2 jobs, one as a cashier at a grocery store, the other cleaning offices at night. She lived in a small apartment in a building that smelled like mildew and cigarette smoke. Her car was 15 years old and made a horrible noise every time she started it. She was behind on rent, behind on her credit card, behind on everything. Emily wasn't a criminal. She was just tired. Tired of working 70 hours a week and still not having enough. Tired of choosing between groceries and her son's winter coat. And then one day, a friend of a friend mentioned something. "There's a way to make money. You don't have to do anything illegal. Just help someone out." Emily asked what it was. Marriage sponsorship, the friend said. International students pay Canadians to marry them for PR. You sign some papers, take some photos, and you get paid. Emily's first reaction was no, absolutely not. But then her landlord called. Rent was late again, and her son needed new shoes. So Emily asked how much. $20,000, the friend said. $20,000. That could pay off her credit card, catch up on rent, fix her car, buy Ben everything he needed. Emily thought about it for a week, but every time she looked at her bank account, every time her son asked for something she couldn't afford, she thought about that $20,000. Finally, she called the number. A man answered. "Hi," he said. "My name is Karan." Karan explained everything. The process, the timeline, the risks. He made it sound simple. "You're not doing anything violent," he said. "You're not stealing. You're just helping someone stay in the country. And you're getting paid for it." Emily asked if it was illegal. "Technically, yes," Karan said, "but people do this all the time. And as long as you follow the plan, no one will know." He paused. "Think about your son. Think about what this money could do for him." That's what convinced her. Not the money itself, but what the money could do for Ben. So Emily agreed. 2 days later, Karan introduced her to Ravi over the phone. They met in person the following week. Ravi was nervous. Emily was guarded. They sat across from each other like strangers on a first date that neither of them wanted to be on. Ravi told her about his family, his village, his parents' sacrifices. Emily told him about Ben, her jobs, her struggles. For a moment, they weren't a fake couple. They were just two people trying to survive. But they both knew the truth. This wasn't friendship. This wasn't love. This was a transaction. 3 weeks later, Ravi and Emily got married. The wedding took place on a Tuesday afternoon. There was no church, no guests, no flowers, no music, just a government office. A marriage commissioner, 2 witnesses Karan had hired for $50 each. Emily wore jeans and a sweater. Ravi wore the only button-up shirt he owned. They stood side by side in front of the commissioner. She asked them to repeat their vows. Ravi's hands were shaking. Emily stared at the floor. When the commissioner asked if they took each other as husband and wife, they both said yes, but their voices were flat, hollow. The commissioner didn't seem to notice, or maybe she did and just didn't care. She signed the marriage certificate, handed it to them. "Congratulations," she said, and just like that, it was done. Ravi and Emily were legally married. After the ceremony, Karan took them to a nearby park. "We need photos," he said. So they posed, holding hands, standing close, smiling at the camera. Karan snapped photo after photo. "Good, this is good. Immigration loves park photos." He handed Emily a bouquet he'd bought from a grocery store. "Hold this. Look happy." Emily held the flowers. Ravi put his arm around her. They smiled. Click, click, click. To anyone looking at those photos, they looked like a couple in love. But in reality, they were 2 strangers pretending. After the photos, Karan gave Emily an envelope. Inside was $2,000 in cash. "First payment," he said. "The rest comes monthly." Emily took the envelope and put it in her bag. She didn't say thank you. She didn't say anything. She just walked to her car and drove away. Ravi watched her go, and for the first time since this whole thing started, he felt something he hadn't expected: guilt. For the next few months, everything went according to plan. Ravi and Emily met once a week to take more photos. They went to restaurants, went to a movie, went to a museum. They posted some of the photos on social media. They memorized each other's favorite foods, favorite movies, the story of how they met. They practiced their answers for the immigration interview. Karan coached them on everything. If they ask how you fell in love, what do you say? "We met at a coffee shop," Emily would recite. "He spilled his coffee on me. We laughed. We started talking. And we just connected." "Good," said Karan. "Keep it simple. Keep it believable." And it worked. The immigration application was submitted. The interview was scheduled. Everything was moving forward.
Ravi paid Emily every month. Emily deposited the money. Neither of them asked questions. It was clean, it was organized, it was working. But then something changed.
It started small. Emily missed a scheduled photo session. Ravi texted her. No response. He called. Straight to voicemail. He thought maybe she was busy. Maybe her phone died. Maybe she'd reply later. But she didn't. Days passed. Still nothing. Then Emily missed the immigration interview, the one they'd been preparing for, the one that would determine if Ravi got his PR or got deported. Ravi showed up alone. The immigration officer asked where his wife was. She's sick, Ravi lied. She couldn't make it. The officer didn't look convinced. We'll need to reschedule, she said, and next time she needs to be here, both of you, or we'll deny the application. Ravi nodded. His heart was pounding. After the interview, he called Karan. Emily's not responding, Ravi said. She missed the interview. What do I do? Karan was silent for a moment. I'll handle it, he finally said. But days passed, and still no word from Emily. Ravi went to her apartment. He knocked on the door. No answer. He asked the landlord if he'd seen her. Haven't seen her in over a week, the landlord said, and she's late on rent again. Ravi checked her social media. Nothing. No posts, no updates, no activity. It was like she had vanished. And then one morning, Ravi saw the news. A local woman had been reported missing. Her name was Emily Turner. Her sister had filed the report after Emily failed to pick up her son from school. Police were asking anyone with information to come forward. Ravi's blood went cold. He called Karan immediately. Did you see the news? I saw it, Karan said. What do we do? Nothing, Karan said. You do nothing. Don't talk to the police. Don't go near her apartment. Don't do anything that connects you to this. But I'm her husband, Ravi said. They're going to find out. Then you tell them the marriage was real, Karan said. You tell them you loved her. You tell them you have no idea where she is. Ravi's hands were shaking. What if they don't believe me? They will, Karan said, as long as you don't panic. But Ravi was already panicking. Because 3 days later, police found Emily's phone in a trash bin behind a gas station. The battery was removed, the SIM card was gone, and when detectives started going through her life, they found something that changed everything.
Emily's sister, Claire, had a key to Emily's apartment. When police searched the place, Claire went with them. She walked through the small living room, the kitchen with dishes still in the sink, Ben's bedroom with toys scattered on the floor, and then she saw Emily's bedroom. On the nightstand, next to the bed, was a notebook. Claire picked it up. The cover was plain, nothing special. But when she opened it, her heart sank. Inside were pages and pages of Emily's handwriting, dates, names, amounts of money, and at the top of the first page, in case something happens to me. Claire's hands started to shake. She kept reading. His name is Ravi Kapoor. We got married 6 months ago. It's not real. He's paying me $20,000 to help him get PR. At first it seemed okay, just paperwork, just photos. But lately, something feels wrong. He's been asking me to do more, to lie more, to meet his friend Karan more often. Karan scares me. He watches me. He asks questions about Ben, about where I live, about my schedule. I told Ravi I want out. I told him I can't do this anymore. He said it's too late. He said if I back out now, they'll both get deported, and I'll get charged with fraud. I don't know what to do. And then, on the last page, Emily had written something that made Claire's blood run cold. If anything happens to me, Ravi or his friend Karan will be the reason. Claire immediately handed the notebook to the police. Within hours, detectives had a warrant. They went to Ravi's apartment. He wasn't there. They checked his work. He hadn't shown up in days. They tried calling him, straight to voicemail. Ravi Kapoor had disappeared. For the next 48 hours, police searched for Ravi. They checked bus stations, airports, border crossings. They issued a public alert with his photo. And then, 2 days later, a jogger made a discovery that would turn the case into a homicide investigation.
The body was found near the edge of a lake, about 30 kilometers outside the city. It was wrapped in plastic sheeting and partially buried under leaves and dirt. The jogger had almost missed it, but something caught her eye. A piece of fabric sticking out from the ground. She called 911. When police arrived, they carefully excavated the area. What they found was a woman's body, decomposed, unrecognizable, but dental records confirmed what everyone already feared. It was Emily Turner. The medical examiner determined that Emily had been dead for at least 10 days. Cause of death: blunt force trauma to the head. She had been struck multiple times with a heavy object, and then her body had been transported to the lake and hidden. This wasn't an accident. This wasn't a random act of violence. This was murder, and it was planned. When the news broke, the media exploded. Headlines screamed, "Missing mother found dead. Police hunt husband in murder case. Fake marriage ends in real death." Candle vigils were held outside Emily's apartment. Photos of her and her son were shared online. Strangers who had never met Emily left flowers and teddy bears and handwritten notes. "Justice for Emily. Rest in peace. We won't forget you." And in the middle of all of this, police were still searching for Ravi. But just when they thought he had fled the country, they found something that changed the entire investigation.
Ravi was found 3 days after Emily's body was discovered. He was hiding in a motel 2 hours north of the city. He didn't run when police knocked on the door. He didn't fight. He just sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the floor, and let them handcuff him. At the station, detectives interrogated him for hours. They showed him the photos, the marriage certificate, Emily's notebook. "She wrote that if anything happened to her, you'd be responsible," one detective said. "So tell us, what happened?" Ravi didn't answer. He just kept saying the same thing over and over. "I didn't kill her. I swear, I didn't kill her." But the evidence was damning. He was the last person paying her. He was the last person she was afraid of. And he had disappeared right after she was reported missing. It looked like an open and shut case, until detectives searched Ravi's apartment more thoroughly. And that's when they found the second phone. It was hidden inside a drawer, underneath some clothes, a cheap burner phone. When they turned it on, they found dozens of text messages, but they weren't from Ravi. They were from Karan. And what those messages revealed changed everything. The first message was from 3 weeks before Emily disappeared. "Karan, she's becoming a problem." Ravi, "What do you mean?" "Karan, she wants out. She's scared. If she talks, we all go down." Ravi, "So what do we do?" Karan, "Let me handle it." Then, a week later, Karan, "Is the lake spot still clear?" Ravi, "What lake spot?" Karan, "Don't play dumb. The one I showed you last month." Ravi, "I don't know what you're talking about." Karan, "Then forget I said anything." And finally, the day Emily disappeared, Karan, "It's done." Ravi, "What's done?" Karan, "Your problem. She's not going to be an issue anymore." Ravi, "What did you do?" Karan didn't respond. When detectives read those messages, everything clicked into place. Karan wasn't just helping students commit fraud, he was eliminating anyone who threatened to expose him, and Emily Turner had become a threat. Police immediately issued a warrant for Karan's arrest, but when they went to his apartment, he was already gone. His phone was off, his bank accounts were emptied, his social media was deleted. Karan had vanished, but he'd left something behind, a laptop. And on that laptop was a folder labeled Plan B.
Inside the folder on Karan's laptop, investigators found everything. Lists of names, students he'd helped, Canadians he'd paid, fake marriage documents, bank transfers, photos, interview scripts. But that wasn't the most disturbing part. There was another folder inside. It was labeled Backup Identities. Inside were fake IDs, passports, driver's licenses, all with Karan's photo, but different names, different birth dates, different nationalities. Karan had been planning to disappear for months. And he wasn't just going to disappear, he was going to take on a new identity, start over, somewhere no one would find him. And Ravi? Ravi was supposed to take the fall. That was the plan all along. Karan would kill Emily, frame Ravi, and while police focused on Ravi, Karan would vanish. It was cold. It was calculated. It was evil. But there was one thing Karan didn't count on: Ravi keeping the burner phone. That phone was the only reason police now knew the truth. It took 3 months, but police eventually found Karan. He was arrested at a border crossing trying to enter the United States with a fake passport. In his bag, they found $47,000 in cash and another fake ID. When detectives interrogated him, Karan didn't deny anything. He admitted to killing Emily. He admitted to planning Ravi's setup. He admitted to running the marriage fraud operation for years. But he didn't show remorse. He just shrugged. She was going to ruin everything, he said. I did what I had to do. Karan was charged with first-degree murder. Ravi was charged as an accessory after the fact for not reporting Emily's disappearance sooner and for destroying evidence. The trial lasted 6 weeks. The courtroom was packed every single day. Emily's sister, Claire, sat in the front row. She didn't miss a single hearing. Prosecutors presented the evidence: the notebook, the messages, the laptop, the forensic reports. Witnesses testified: other students who had worked with Karan, Canadians who had been paid to marry them, immigration officers who had been fooled. And then Emily's notebook was read aloud. Every word, her fears, her regrets, her final warning. When the prosecutor read the last line, "If anything happens to me, Ravi or his friend Karan will be the reason," Claire broke down in tears. The defense tried to argue that Ravi didn't know what Karan was planning, that he was a victim too. But the jury didn't buy it. After 3 days of deliberation, they returned with their verdict. Karan, guilty of first-degree murder, sentenced to life in prison with no chance of parole for 25 years. Ravi, guilty of being an accessory after the fact and obstruction of justice, sentenced to 15 years in prison. But no one really won. Emily was gone. Her son, Ben, would grow up without his mother. Ravi's parents lost everything: their land, their savings, their son. Karan would spend the rest of his life behind bars. And dozens of other students and Canadians involved in the fraud ring were arrested and charged. Lives ruined, families destroyed. All because of a system that pushed people to the edge.
If you want to uncover more chilling true crime stories and see justice exposed, subscribe to Crime Vaults as we bring light to the darkest true crime cases and never miss the secrets hidden in plain sight.